gay men.
In a few minutes, I'd like to really ask you both to answer. First of all, were there things that you didn't know then that you know now that would have shocked you then? I mean, was there anything, if someone came to you in the 1940s and said to you, this is going to happen someday, and you would have said, that'll never happen? I mean, has anything shocked you about what's happened? And do you think we've gone in a good direction? Are you pleased about some things and angry about some things? I'd like you both to answer this.
Well, I wouldn't say I've been shocked by some of the developments in the movement. I'd rather say I'm pleasantly surprised by some of the things that have come along. For example, I would never have dreamed in 1958, when I joined the movement, that we could get the Psychiatric Association to turn around and take us off the list of mental disorders. I wouldn't have dreamed it possible for us to have groups of parents and friends of gays, people who are not even gay, but who have a stake in our happiness, coming forward and talking to the public and making a bridge of communication. And I wouldn't have dreamed it possible to have the gay choruses and the gay marching bands, which I think are just wonderful. I think they're terrific. Things like that I would not have dreamed of. What about you, Harry?
Well, differently from you, I think I might say that I'm only surprised that Parents and Friends of Gays didn't show up before they did. Because in the first Maritime Society, my mother was president, the mother of one of the other men was secretary, and his sister was treasurer. There were certain parents who gave a certain loyalty to their children whom they loved. I don't think my mother ever understood what it meant, what homosexuality was all about, but she had a total loyalty to us and to the men I knew because she thought they were wonderful people, and this was enough for her, and she stood for that. So I would have expected that type of loyalty from far more parents than showed up. I think that this is something I might find. On the other hand, I feel myself that the three questions that I posed in the fall of 1952 to one of our first conferences: who are we as gay people? Where have we been and where are we going? And what are we for? These questions have not been addressed, they have not been answered, and I feel myself that until we answer them, until we're communicable about these things, we're not going to ever be able to tell the heteros who we are, and since they don't know who we are, they don't know how to relate to us and how to accommodate to us. And I think we have a great contribution to make to them, and I think we're unable to make that contribution so long as they only see us in the stereotypes they themselves have put upon us.
Do you have a minute message, maybe, a tricentennial minute message for young lesbians and gay men today, Harry? I mean, some advice, maybe?
Yes, I would. I would suggest, among other things, that we must begin to quit imitating the heteros as much as we do, and I think as far as the younger people are concerned, they've got a big step up on all of us, because they haven't taken on as much of the frog skins that most of us have to wrap ourselves in order to get through life. That I've always said that we should tear off the ugly green frog skin and find the beautiful fairy prince underneath, and I hope all the young ones find the beautiful fairy prince tomorrow.
That's great.
Good.
It's been...
My message is simply hang in there, folks, because those of us who are out are oiling the closet door hinges just as fast as we can.
That's really great.
That's lovely. I love that.
It's been too short with both of you. You're both fascinating, and I'm glad to have had this time with you. Coming up, Cabaret and Tom Steele. Marcia Pally takes us to a gay theater. And now, why don't you take a look at some more answers to our question, is there a lesbian and gay community? Boy, is there.
This portion of our time is brought to you by Christopher Street Magazine.
Is there a gay community?
I think it's obvious.
I definitely think that there is a lesbian and gay community out here.
Of course there is. There's supposed to be 1 million people in New York who are gay.
Yes, there is. Look around you. There are a lot of gays in New York, New Jersey, and all over the tri-state area that I've met and seen.
I believe there is a lesbian and gay community. A lot of times it's not, I wouldn't say that it's necessarily all that organized, depending on what part of the country you happen to be in, but obviously here in New York it's much more prevalent than what it is elsewhere.
In this town, definitely. Absolutely. Clearly defined. It's right here. We're here in it.
If there was a community, it wasn't very well held together, and I think that it seems to be aging and changing. There seems to be the identity or something is not there.
Definitely, there seems to be a community of gays and lesbians here. I've noticed certain sections of town, for example, that seem to be more frequented by these people, which led me to believe that they function as a group in a particular area.
As a soul community, I don't think there is one, except for the common decency for each other. I think they're actually two separate communities. I personally don't feel that I'm involved in the lesbian community, that I'm truly involved in the homosexual, the male community.
There is a lesbian and gay community in New York City. It's very active.
Well, I would think so. I came from Stockholm, Sweden just 1 month ago, and I've spent quite a lot of time in Greenwich Village. I've been down to Key West, and I guess those are the two most gay communities I have ever seen.
Yes, there is, and I think they need to have a own community, one in the city, and I'm for it.